Welcome to the Ill Noise Business Playbook. I am here with Lori Schutt of Hoof Woof Meow Animal Rescue. Lori, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing wonderful. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen each other. Can you share with the audience the last time the last time we saw each other, both of us were a little bit dressed up a little bit better than we are now. Not that either of us don't look nice now, but we were kind of dressed to the T's. Can you remember why that was?
Yeah, it was the gala for, you'll have to remind me of the name of the gala.
It's Brother to Brother.
Brother to Brother, yep.
Yes.
So we were there to support that organization, and it was a great night. We ended up sitting at the same table, and you and my husband are like best friends now.
Oh, goodness, yes. Please tell your husband I said hello.
I will.
I'm sure you will, by the way. Yeah, that was a much fun time. Great food, great drinks, great people, but just a great mission. So I'm glad we were both kind of out there to represent that with our lovely significant others.
Yes, definitely.
What I'd love for you to do is share with the audience. Tell us about your organization and tell us about the core mission behind it.
So Hoof Woof Meow Animal Rescue is a C3 nonprofit. It was formed about 13 years ago. So we're on year 13. Our rescue is 100% volunteer and foster-based rescue. So we're not a shelter. All of our animals are in foster homes where they get cared for, get the medical attention that they need. And it also helps our fosters to learn the personalities of the animals so that we can place them in the proper home. So, 13 years ago, and the mission is, it's just a simple mission. It's just rescuing mistreated and homeless animals and giving them a second chance at life.
That's beautiful. Where did that, I'm going to ask you a question you probably weren't prepared for, but this will be kind of easy. But where did that love and that passion for animals come from for you, Lori?
Well, for me, we've always grown up with rescue animals. We've always had a dog in the house. And my dog that I have currently here, before I got involved in the rescue and was on the board, I fostered. Okay. And so I am what you call a foster fail, because Jazzy, from the day she came into my house to be fostered, she has never left. So Jazzy's been with us for about 9 years or so now. And she just, from the moment she walked in through our front door and she sat on my son's lap and cuddled on him, I was like, yeah, she's not going anywhere.
That is beautiful. That is awesome. I know you sort of mentioned, kind of the functionality of what you're doing. So it sounds like you guys really need some community support. What sort of community involvement do you look at? And, how can individuals contribute their time or their skills to your organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. We need a lot of volunteers, being 100% volunteer based. So all the money that we raise, nothing goes towards salaries. It all goes right back to the animals. So our biggest need is always fosters for dogs and cats. Anybody that's willing to open up their home to take an animal in from the day that it arrives on transport until the day that we find its forever home. That's our biggest need. We can't rescue animals if we don't have a home to put them in. Fostering is, we won't have a rescue if we don't have fosters. And it can be a longer term commitment, because you do, devote your time to that animal until it finds its home. But we also need short-term fosters. A lot of our fosters do go on vacations and, have family issues that come up and they need to go out of town for a weekend. So we're always looking for temp fosters as well, that know that you'll only have that animal for either a long weekend or 1 week, and that's your time commitment.
Let's talk about financial commitments as well. In order for your organization to thrive, money's always needed in some sort of way, right? Like it'd be great if we could just snap our fingers and everything was fine, but we've got to keep the lights on, we've got to help things out, we've got to keep things moving. What sort of financial needs are needed, and how do those contributions that are added to your organization, how do those help the pressing needs that are out there?
Well, our biggest need financially is always helping to cover our medical bills. So our adoption fees are pretty standard across the board when you look at them compared to other rescues. A puppy is, let's just go with a puppy, it's $400. For a puppy, it includes, we do a wellness exam with all of our animals. If there are any issues at all while they're in our care, we get them medically treated. But in general, for all of our animals, it includes age appropriate vaccines, and a spay or neuter. So we have to, by state of Illinois and Department of Ag, all of our animals have to get altered. So we cover everything that needs to be done age appropriate plus the alteration. So if we have an animal that comes in, and we've had animals come in with a broken paw, issues. We've had animals come in that have BB shots in them, because they were used, in a really bad situation. We've had animals that came up with parvo, they've contracted something on their way up through transport. You get one or two animals whose medical may cost us $2,000-3,000. How many other animals do we have to get adopted out that are healthy to make up that cost? So, we don't change our adoption fees according to how much medical we've put into an animal. We're going to take care of that animal if we can to the best of our ability. So a lot of times the adoption fees don't cover the medical that we've put into the animals, plus all, the basics, food supply, things like that. So we do get a lot of donations at the rescue. We do get, sheets and towels for our fosters to use. We have a couple of fosters that get in pregnant mamas. So they go through a lot of sheets when the, puppies are being born. We get towels for them to use for, bathing and things like that. We get donated crates, we get toys, we get food, we get treats, all sorts of supplies. So our fosters don't really have to shell out hardly any money, unless they choose to. A lot of our fosters like to take their animals over to Petco and let them go and pick out a toy or something special, and then they let that animal keep it when they get adopted. But that's, the fosters that choose to do that. But medical is always our biggest expense year after year. Typically, we'll have anywhere from 10 to 15 heartworm dogs, which, heartworm itself can cost us anywhere from, $800 to, a couple thousand if it's really severe and we have to go through the treatment a couple times. So that's always any rescue, any shelter. That's your biggest expense is the medical costs.
We're all about feel good stories here, Lori. Tell us a heartwarming story that you have about that's kind of driven you. I'm sure you probably have a million of them, but some really wonderful heartwarming stories that come out from what you do.
I can just say in general, we've had people that have adopted from us that, maybe they just lost a spouse and they were lonely. And they've adopted a dog from us. And we were actually written up in a magazine last year, and they interviewed one of our adopters who, she was just lonely. She was sad all the time, and she adopted a dog from us. And it was just a huge emotional change for her. She wasn't lonely. She had company. She had something to keep her going. We do hear stories like that. One of the things that we do is we've partnered with another nonprofit called Canines for Comfort. And so they provide therapy dogs for either veterans with PTSD or just people that have anxiety and need a emotional support animal. So they train their animals for those specific needs of those people. And so some of the animals that we've actually brought up on our transports, Canines for Comfort has brought into their program. So they got trained to work with, I think the first one we did got trained to work with a little girl that had seizures. And the dog was trained to go tell the mom if a seizure was coming on or to comfort the girl while she was having a seizure. A couple of our animals have ended up being school therapy dogs. And we've even had, I think, one or two that they've gotten from us that are working with the police departments where they help calm the victims. So here we are rescuing these dogs to give them a second chance at a happy life. And in turn, they're actually helping people with their needs. So it's been a great situation working with Canines for Comfort. I just love seeing what these rescue animals are capable of doing.
That's beautiful
for other people. And they're just so they know how lucky they are to be rescued. I mean, just seeing the photos of some of our animals that came in and they were just malnourished and, sick, and you could see their bones, and now they're just thriving in their homes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Spoiler alert, I'm a big fan of the 60s music scene. And there was a huge, amazing concert that was done in New York. Anyways, Lori, maybe there's a segue here, but I believe you have an event that we want to be promoting here. What is it called and what's it all about?
Woofstock is this Sunday, June 29th from 12 to 4. We'll be at the East Dundee Depot. I will ask everybody to please pray for good weather. I need sunshine, mild temperatures, and very little wind.
Yes.
We don't want everything blowing away. So we're hoping for a beautiful day, but we're going to have live music, vendor booths, ton of raffle prizes. All these different businesses have been so generous with us. We've got a lot of sponsors. We'll be selling apparel and, annual Woofstock t-shirt. It's all tie-dyed, so it goes with the theme.
Yes.
We'll have a 50-50 raffle. We have a kids craft tent. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. Everybody enjoys it every year. I believe the Windy City Bulls will be there with their mascot. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's a great family event. So it is the biggest fundraiser that we do. Typically, it brings in right around $13,000 for the rescue. So we're hoping to hit that, if not exceed.
Yes.
Yeah, we need a lot of people got to come on out and support the mission. All of our adoptable animals will be there. We're going to have pools set up for them if it's hot so that they can keep cool. But They'll be there waiting to meet their forever families.
Beautiful. Well, my wife and I will be there to help support you in the cause, for sure.
Awesome.
And I hope you have a medium-sized shirt that I can purchase, because that sounds like a lot.
We've got all sizes.
Yep. Wonderful. Wonderful. For people that are listening and are getting inspired by you and what you're doing with the animal rescue, what's the best way for people to get involved and learn more about the information about your organization?
Our website.
Okay.
Under the volunteer link, it gives all the information about becoming a volunteer. We need help with our events and fundraisers. Our events and fundraising team, they work tirelessly, especially through the summer months with all the events that we do. And so we always need help, either coming up with new events or just supporting us at the events, from setup to takedown. Fundraising team, we need them to do what they do to help us, close the gap in our finances, keep things running smoothly. So we're always looking for help on those two teams. We do like open nights on Wednesdays for an hour. We have somebody go into our space, just kind of clean things up, accept donations. We're always looking for help with that. When we have transports, if people like to be more hands-on with the dogs, helping to get them off a transport, get all their supplies ready to go with the foster to pick them up. And then even at events, if we have fosters that have multiple animals coming to an event, we'll need a handler, somebody to handle the additional animals. So if you like just, being with the dogs, we're always looking for help. So it's just filling out the volunteer app on the website. And if anybody's interested in fostering, all the information about fostering is also on the website, along with the foster application.
Beautiful. Well, Lori, I really appreciate you spending some time with us and getting the word out about all the wonderful things that you're doing at the animal rescue. So thank you so very much, and you have yourself a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you. I really appreciate you allowing me to be on to talk about everything, and I hope to see everybody Sunday at Woofstock, East Dundee Depot.
We'll be there. You take care.
Sounds great.